Hello folks, shintigercurl here, that dude in the straw hat, here to bring you yet another wrestling review. I'm of course joined by my cohort and co-host, Joe. Say hi, Joe. You just had nachos. Well, it's Thursday night, and you know what that means? Time for Impact. Last week's was a surprisingly good episode. Can they follow it up with a better one? I got my notes. Let's get started. Let's see. Fortune comes out, this time flanked by the returning Christopher Daniels, the Fallen Angel. Sorry, that was my phone. If you don't know your TNA history, the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels is one of the old school TNA originals. He's a multi-time X Division champion, multi-time tag champion, and he's perhaps one of their greatest in-ring competitors. He was also a member of a group called Triple X with primetime Elix Skipper and Senshi, what most of you would know as Kaval. And he was also a tag team partner of AJ Styles. They went on to become multi-time tag champions together. So anyway, Daniels says that he has a rocky history with TNA, but he couldn't stand by and watch as his best friend and fellow tag team partner AJ Styles just get beaten up and taken out by Bully Ray. So he came back and he asked Rude, Storm, and Kaz if he can join up with them at Lethal Lockdown two weeks from now. Then out comes Ric Flair, flanked by the Fat Boys. The Fat Boys are made up of the Monster Cheese, Abyss, Blubber Ray, and Cold Cuts Fat Lardy. That's right, I went there. Flair cuts a good promo stating that since he's God, he doesn't know who Daniels is, and he hasn't really done anything worth noting. Daniels doesn't buy any of that shit. Then Hogan and Bischoff come out. And they state that that Daniels does not have a contract with TNA, and they don't want him here. But the mysterious network wants him there. So, again I ask, all-powerful Hogan? Doesn't look like it to me. Anyway, he makes a match tonight. It'll be Christopher Daniels versus Blubber Ray lumberjack match. And afterwards we had the of course obligatory stable brawl between them. Next up, we have the new group of Mexican America, consisting of Ubermex Hernandez, Anarquia, aka Chavo Guerrero's clone, and Rosita and Sarita, the Knockouts Tag Team Champions. Now, I will go on a little rant about this. I don't like this group. Not only do they take a simple but stale gimmick of angry minorities, but the fact is, no one in this group can cut a promo. They can't talk at all. And this is big for me to say because I like Super Mex because he's from Houston, and I used to watch the guy wrestle just down the road at the Bingo Hall in Humble, Texas, and he just can't cut a promo, at least a good heel promo. Arnakia can barely talk as it is, and Sarita and Rosita, don't get me started with them. Not to mention Mexican America. It's like they weren't even trying with that name. The group doesn't sound good or doesn't look good. Whatever. So anyway, Ubermex and Chavo's clone take on Devon and Tommy Dreamer. This was a short but uninspiring match. Nothing to write home about. There was some shenanigans, and Mexican America wins. Cut to commercial, and mind you, between these segments, Mr. Anderson is backstage. He's getting taunted by presumably Sting, seeing as how they want to settle things. So between these matches, he's going backstage and looking for Sting with a lead pipe. Next match, Samoa Joe versus Jobby McJobber, aka Murphy. And for this match, the Pope comes out and he sits in doing commentary. This match was short. Joe basically kills him. Now, it's nice to see that Joe is still capable of killing people, but he has dropped so low that this will not garner him any kind of badass points with me. He still has a long way to go before he's back to the man that he once was when he returned to TNA. Anyway, next up, the Sarita and Rosita versus the Beautiful People for the most worthless, for the only belts in professional wrestling more worthless than the WWE Tag Team titles, the Knockouts title. This match I skipped. I really didn't give a fuck. It really didn't matter because those belts have no value. They're just there. There is no Knockouts division, and and Sarita and Rosita have no problem, have no worries about anyone taking those titles because there's no one to wrestle. Really, it's just the Beautiful People, and maybe Tara and Madison Rayne. That's it. There's no one else. Really. So skip. Next up, after a funny segment with Eric Young and OJ, Anderson goes up to the rafters to look for Sting. Well, he found someone who looked like Sting. It was RVD wearing Sting's coat, and he just beats the hell out of him. But before all that, he says one of perhaps the most ironic and funniest lines I've heard all night. Hey, Mr. Anderson. Hey, Anderson. You guess what time it is? 4:20. You want to know why? Because your ass is about to get smoked. And proceeds to beat the crap out of him. I have to admit that line did give me a chuckle. Alright. Sting comes out, and he calls out RVD. RVD, in a rare moment of continuity, says that he remembers when he first came to TNA that Sting was his first opponent, and Sting beat him up. This is back when Sting was an evil fucker. He apologizes, but then Eric and Hogan come out to stroke their cocks and say that tonight is going to be RVD versus Sting, non-title. Next match, it's Robbie E and the Young Bucks, aka Generation Me, versus the team of Brian Kendrick, aka the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, Chris Sabin, and Suicide. Now, if you're wondering where Alex Shelley is, he's still nursing a broken collarbone, and he'll be out for some time. This was actually a pretty good match, but I do have one gripe about it. Robbie E is useless in this match. He was just there to get beat on. He was just there to be a body. He didn't really contribute anything special or innovative to this match. He was just there to fist pump. Ow, 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 ow. And of course, Cookie reminds me why I like Snooki, because the bitch wouldn't shut up. But this match was good. The end comes when Max and Jeremy are starting to have a little infighting. Max hits him with an implant DDT or something. I don't know what you called it, but it's what Randy Orton does, like that. Anyway, Spanky picks up the win, and it is the official end of the Young Bucks. So I hope this was a very good match, save for Robbie E's involvement, which was just there as an extra body, and we get some development with the Young Bucks angle, which is always good. Backstage, Hogan is chewing out Murphy and the Freak Rob Terry, and Gunner, being the TV champion, slaps the crap out of him. Anderson comes in and he says, "I need your help. I'm getting tired of getting my ass kicked. Let me be the special guest referee for the main event tonight, and I promise you, you will not be sorry." So it looks like Anderson has joined Immortal. More of that later. Backstage, it appears that Mickie James was run over by a motorcycle. Okay. Next match, Bully Blubber Ray versus Chris Daniels. Lumberjack match with the members of the Fat Boys and Ric Flair and Fortune outside the ring. And trust me, when you got the Fat Boys out there, you don't really need any more people out there. This was a blasé match. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Bubba Ray. He is just not shouldn't be in the ring with someone like Chris Daniels. I mean, Chris Daniels has just come from ROH having some of the best matches of his career with the likes of Davey Richards, Homicide, and Eddie Edwards. Hell, he could... I'll get to that later, but... Anyway, there were some shenanigans as Hulk Hogan himself comes out and hits Daniels in the head with the chain. 1, 2, 3, Bully Ray wins. Again, I feel sorry for Christopher Daniels. He went from being on top of the world in Ring of Honor to just being shed on by fucking Hulk Hogan. He could be having a world title match with the new ROH World Champion, Eddie Edwards. Keep that in mind. Next up, Jeff Jarrett comes out, and he yells at the production staff to get the steel cage up as he cuts a short promo. He talks about how he's the ultra male and how Angle Kurt is a criminal now. He doesn't want his kids to be near him because they need Daddy Jeff, the ultra male. And he prepares to introduce Kara to the ring, and my ears were bleeding in anticipation when Kurt's music hits, and he comes in via Suicide's zip line thing and gets in the ring. He calls for the cage to be completely assembled, and the two of them are locked inside the cage. But the ultra male moved ultra fast as he ran from Kurt and ran away. Backstage later, Kurt says that he's not in jail because the cops saw the tape of Karen and Jeff faking the whole 911 call. Note to the Jarretts: if you're gonna fake a 911 call, make sure it's not taped on a video camera. Just a word. But yeah, he said that the cops thought that she was a bigger bitch than he made her out to be. And because apparently he has the network in his back pocket, Kurt has a had a special stipulation added to their match at Lockdown. He doesn't say what it is, and God forbid, I hope it doesn't involve their kids again, because we don't need any more of that. Main event time. RVD versus Sting with Mr. Anderson as the referee. Now, this was a so-so match. I wouldn't say it was the best, but it wasn't the worst. I just wasn't feeling it. At one point, Sting hits the Scorpion Death Drop, and it looks like he's going to pick up the win when when Anderson hits the mic check on Sting. He starts counting, and RVD... Again, I go to the assertion of Spoonie's comment about RVD being the stupidest man in professional wrestling. I mean, he sees Sting laying there, and he obviously didn't do it, so maybe something in his head would tell him that something is wrong with this whole scene, but he doesn't care. Anyway, 5-star frog splash, 1, 2, 3. RVD picks up the win, but he doesn't let Anderson raise his hand. Anderson instead gets the world title, hits him, and then hits a mic check on him, I think. And he says that, "Where's my rematch? Where's my rematch?" Then, as he's celebrating, Murphy and Rob Terry come out, still having their asses sore from being turned into bitches. And they celebrate with Anderson, lead pipe in hand. Hogan comes out and he's like, "You did it, brother. You did it. You're the man now, brother." But Anderson, of course, does a reverse swerve on them, hitting both of them with the pipe and hitting both of them with the mic check and telling Hogan that his ass is next. Hogan leaves the screen, cussing as only Hogan can. And that's the end of the show. My thoughts? It was a blah show. Not the best, but not the worst. It had some wrestling. It was decent. The 6-man tag was probably the best match of the night. The promos were okay, but it was still too much, and some of the matches were just too short. But overall, it wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst. So, meh. It's watchable at some points, but skippable at best. So, that was Impact. And now, that was in my Impact review. Tune in tomorrow when I review WWE SmackDown, and from what I've read of the spoilers, we'll be having some appearance by Sin Cara. Anyway, this is shintigercurl, that dude in the straw hat, and Joe saying good night and wrestle on.